Hi, welcome to Big Ted's Home and Garden. In today's video I'm going to show you how to install an Orskey Dash Cam. These Orskey Dash Cams are very popular on Amazon at the moment. The specs and reviews are very good for a low-cost camera. This is the S900 model, but the installation method will be very similar for all the Orskey models. This is what you get inside the box. We've got the dash cam itself. It's a HD dash cam with a 170 degree field of vision and a Sony image sensor. There's a USB charging cable. This is for charging the internal battery before you install the dash cam. It fits into this port here. There's a plug-in car charger like this one, and also there's a rear view camera. If you want to use your cigarette lighter for something else, like charging your phone for example, you'll also need a hardwire kit. These are not expensive. I'll put an Amazon link in the description below. People get worried when they hear about hardwiring, but it's actually an easy job. I'll take you through it step by step. Once you've charged the internal battery, the first thing to do is to fit the micro SD card. It clicks into the slot at the side of the camera. There's only one way it can go in. Just push it in with your thumbnail until it clicks. The windscreen mount screws into the threaded hole on the top of the camera. Screw it in until the suction pad is facing in the same direction as the camera lens. And then lock it into position by turning the locking wheel clockwise. Simply tighten it up as much as you can. To change the angle of the camera, loosen off the wheel on the side of the mount, and then you'll be able to adjust the mount so that the camera will sit vertically and the mount's attached to your windscreen. You'll probably have to play around with this a little bit when you get it into the car, but then to lock it back into position, simply tighten that wheel again. Position the mount so that the camera's not in your direct field of vision. Normally just to the left of the rear view mirror is a good position for this. And then turn the locking lever clockwise to fix the mount to the windscreen. You can then readjust the angle of the camera if you need to. If you don't want to hardwire your dash cam, take the cigarette lighter plug that's supplied with the kit, take out your cigarette lighter and plug the lead into this 12-volt socket. You then need to connect this lead to the dash cam as unobtrusively as possible. Start by taking it under your car mats across to the far side of the passenger footwell, and then you should be able to run the cable up the inside of the door trim up towards the side of the dashboard. Plastic trim tools are really useful for this job. They're very cheap, and it means that if you slip, you're not going to scratch your paint like you would if you were using a screwdriver. So just use it to lever out the trim and push the cable underneath. Once you're in, you should be able to run it straight up quite easily then. There we go. Do the same to run the cable across the top of the door pillar and then underneath the roof carpet until you get across to the dash cam. The USB plug on the end of the power lead then plugs into the USB port on the top of the camera, and that's the front camera installed. If you want to use your 12-volt supply for anything else though, you'll need a hardwire kit. The hardwire kit looks complicated, but it's not. You don't need most of these cables. First thing you need to do is find your fuse box. In most cars, the fuse box is behind the glove compartment. This is a Ford Fiesta, and to remove the glove box, simply push the sides in and lower it down. And then if we look inside, there's the fuse box. Always Google it though before you do start pulling your car apart, because for example this Audi, the fuse box is behind this panel at the end of the dashboard. If I take the panel off, you can see the fuses behind these pink clips. Those two are nice and easy to get to, but unfortunately I'm fitting this dash cam to a Toyota Yaris. The fuse board is behind the glove compartment like in the Fiesta, but in this case the fuses are underneath this relay board, so I'm going to have to take the bottom of the glove compartment off as well. This is held in place by clips. There's 3 clips like this one, and if I undo them I can take this panel out as well. And then the fuses are underneath, facing down towards the floor. You then need to find which fuse protects the 12-volt cigarette lighter. The Yaris had a cover over the fuses which helps you identify them but in some cases you might have to go online and find a fuse board diagram for your car. You can see here, position 23 is the 15 amp cigarette lighter fuse. To extract a fuse, use a pair of long nose pliers to pull it out, and then looking at the fuse that you've extracted, you need to pick the lead from the hardwire kit that it will fit into. Each of the leads in the kit will only fit one type of fuse. So 3 out of the 4 we're not going to need. Push the cigarette lighter fuse into the holder so that you've effectively got 2 fuses side by side. One protecting the cigarette lighter and the 5 amp fuse which is going to protect your dash cam. This twin fuse arrangement then fits back into the fuse board in the position where the original 15 amp fuse was. So once it's connected, coming off the fuse board should be a red power lead with a push connector. You then need to select the power cable which is going to go to the dash cam. This will have a screw down spade connector and a push in connector on one end, and on the other end there should be a USB plug. The end of the cable, the USB plug, has to be fed out either underneath the dashboard or down the side of it. This is so you can run it under the trim up to the dash cam. To make this easier, it's best to remove this ferrite filter. And just simply clip off and it'll split in half and you'll be able to take it off the wire, and this will make it much easier to push the cable out through the side of the dashboard. You might need to use a large screwdriver to lever the plastic a little bit to create a hole big enough to push the cable through. Once you've got the end through, pull through enough cable to be able to run it under the trim and up to the dash cam like we did before. Don't forget to clip the ferrite filter back into position about 3 or 4 inches from the USB plug before you plug it into the dash cam. The 2 sides of the filter just clip together. And then plug the USB connector on the end into the top of the dash cam. Back under the dashboard we need the 2 connectors on the other end of the cable. The round pin pushes into the connector on the end of the cable which is coming from the fuse. Simply push it in until it fits nice and snugly. This is the live feed to the dash cam. The other connector is a screw down spade connector. This is the earth lead. This needs to be connected to the metal chassis of the car. So you need to find a bolt that's connected to the chassis, loosen it off, slide the connector underneath and then screw it down again, so that it's held firmly in position like this. And that's all you need to do to hardwire the front facing dash cam. So this is it fitted. You can see the cable's hidden away nicely, and with the glove compartment back in place it all looks good, no cables on show at all. And that's it, unless you want to fit the rear view camera as well. If you do, you need to plug the rear view camera connector into the top of the dash cam and then work the cable back underneath the roof lining, down the door trim as before, and right down to the floor of the car. In the Yaris it was then very easy just to clip out the trim which covers the wiring as it runs along the sill. Just lifts out, and you can run the rear view camera wire along here alongside the wiring which goes down towards the boot and the rear light clusters. Do the same in the back of the car and then run the wire under the trim by the seat into the boot. You'll then need to route the cable up to wherever you want to fit the rear view camera, bearing in mind that if you do want to use this camera as a reversing camera, the red cable needs to be able to access the rear light cluster, because you need to connect this red cable to your reversing light. I screwed the rear view camera bracket onto the roof lining, but if you're worried about causing damage, there is an adhesive pad you can use. And then finally, if you do want to have the option of using the dash cam as a reversing camera, you need to identify the live feed to your reverse light. Look for the conduction path that only goes to that light and then identify where it connects to on the connector block. This is the wire that's carrying the live feed. And then you need to solder the red wire from the rear view camera to the wire which carries a live feed to the reversing lamp. I suspect that 90% of people won't do this. Once you put everything back together, that's it, your dash cam's ready. When you turn the engine on, the dash cam should start up. Didn't think it was going to work then. And you can peel off the protective label and play around with the settings to suit yourself. I'll just try putting it in reverse, see if the reverse camera works. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So I hope you found this useful. If you have, leave a thumbs up. Any questions, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to Big Ted's Home and Garden. I'll see you soon.